The number one reason most people fail to learn the sport of wrestling, I believe it's just because the sport is unorganized. If you are in a sport like, well, let's just say baseball, there's three moves: catch a ball, throw it, hit it. You can drill the entire sport of baseball every practice. A 6-year-old can do that, and they do. Every single practice, they work on those three skills. Soccer, track, football, you probably have one or two moves in your position. Well, if you look at a sport like gymnastics, it's huge. There's a lot of different techniques, but the gymnastics people have broken gymnastics down into levels. So all over the nation, and I would even assume maybe all over the world, if you're a level 7 gymnast, you're doing the same routine. Everywhere, tens of thousands of coaches have the level 7 practice routine taped to the wall, and that's all those kids do. If they want to be level 8, they look to the right to the next piece of paper taped on the wall, and they have to make sure they master that. Once that's mastered, they can move on to level 9. Karate's the same way. Or martial arts. If you're a brown belt and you want to move up to the next belt, well, that requires this list of skills that is set forth by, that martial arts discipline, I guess the governing body, and it's very organized. You can put the belt by belt by belt in a 3-prong binder and pull a piece of paper out and spend 2 or 3 years mastering one piece of paper. Wrestling, heck, we have coaches around the nation showing 6-year-olds Russian 2-on-1s and all sorts of wrestling techniques that, they don't even know how to head block yet or down block or make contact with their opponent. I have so many kids that come to wrestling camp who are in a left-footed wrestling stance, and they're right-handed, and they've been wrestling for 7 years. I think the most important thing about wrestling is having a system so that not only do you know what to teach and to focus on and drill, but you also can exclude, and now you also sort of know what not to waste your time on. I use the weightlifting analogy. If you go to a Gold's Gym, the one by my house is 2 stories. I don't know how many tens of thousands of square foot it is. Maybe 90. There's a lot of equipment in there. If your son wants to get a $50,000 football scholarship or wrestling scholarship, he's not going to touch most of that equipment. The Thigh Master, that's for the old ladies. The ankle raises, that's for the dads who are just doing total body workouts. To get truly strong, you're not going to touch most of that equipment, and you'll have a plan. It's a piece of paper that the college football coaches say, if you want to play for us, these are the exercises and lifts, these are the sets and reps, and these are for your height and weight, this is how strong you need to be if you even want to be considered. It's all right there. So, all this leads me to our wrestling DVDs, foundationwrestling.com, or you can access it through purlerwrestling.com, hit DVDs. We've broken wrestling down into 4 levels. Youth beginner meaning beginner. If you're an 18-year-old beginner, you need that. You need to know how to make contact and get off your back and pin people. Put your hairline on your opponent's collarbone so you don't get thrown. All of these things. Youth wrestlers should always master that. So our youth beginner series. Then we have phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. And we've broken wrestling down into 4 parts. 4 levels. Just like the gymnasts and karate have that luxury. That's what we have done. And I think that's the number one reason people don't master the sport of wrestling is they're bouncing around like wild hyenas trying to go from one move to the next. The kids aren't learning anything. They spend more time sitting on their butt watching the coach drill, and then the coach brings them in every 3 seconds to show them a new move because he doesn't have a plan or system in place. The coach is working harder than the kids. And that's the problem we have in the sport of wrestling. And if you get organized and you say, okay, my kid is 13, he's wrestled for 4 years. Master of the youth and the phase 1. I guarantee you he'll be placing at youth nationals and winning state titles. We do it all the time. We've done it for a living since 1999 not because we're the greatest coaches in the world, but because I follow a system and I focus the efforts of my kids and I do not waste their time. Their feet start moving the first 12 seconds of practice and they don't stop moving until the 2 to 2.5 hours is up. And getting organized and focusing on a system and following, I guess, the gymnastics and karate format, which is what I've done at foundationwrestling.com, is the best way to do that.